gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the African Fighters Podcast. It's your boy JB, and today with me, we've got from South Africa, ladies and gentlemen. She's Nigerian and she's Zimbabwean. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Chichi Chinyere Okafo from Chichi's Combat Corner. How you doing, Chichi?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys?
Awesome. And from London, England, Ademola, host of the Kingdoms podcast. Ademola, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. I can't complain, brother.
All right, welcome to the African Fighters Podcast. It's me, Chipro. Today, this hasn't been a very eventful week when it comes to African combat sports. So from what you can see from our thumbnail, we are going to discuss UFC Africa. So it's going to be maybe a lengthy discussion about UFC Africa, and then we'll dabble into WWE Royal Rumble because we are kind of interested in that. Because Chichi is a pro wrestling writer, and I'm a huge pro wrestling mark, so we'll talk about that. And to top it off, we are going to talk a little bit about the AFCON going on right now. So please stay with us, and if in case you don't know anything about these topics, we'll make it entertaining for you. I guess we'll try. All right, welcome. All right, without any further ado, the big question. Well, before I talk about the big question, please like the video. Thank you. Just hit the likes. And also, if by any chance you missed the video version of this podcast, you could always listen to us in audio form. We are on every single platform you get your audio pods from. Apple, Spotify, everywhere we are there. And please support us on Patreon as well. Thank you very much. Shout out to our patrons. Shout out Christopher Graham. Shout out Kingdoms and everybody in there that are not paid members, but it's okay. We will win you over. All right. UFC Africa is bigger than UFC 300. This is a conversation that came up because I made a video about UFC Africa, and in the comment section, someone said UFC Africa is bigger than UFC 300. And it got me thinking. I was like, this guy might be actually speaking truth. And I kind of agree with that. And I know that a lot of people will beg to differ. And hear me out, I'm going to explain. But before I do, I can see Demola is nodding his head. Demola, can you tell me, are you for or are you against UFC Africa bigger than UFC 300?
You know what? This statement actually just reminds me of something my South African friend showed me on TikTok. You know, they say Delulu is the new Solulu. So for me, I feel like this is delusional. But then it's good to be delusional because it is also solutional, right? But for me, to be honest, I really don't see how UFC Africa, I'm probably African, but I don't see how UFC Africa is bigger than UFC 300. UFC 300 is a marquee event. It's a milestone event. So tell me how, brother. Please educate
All right,
me.
I will convince you. Brother.
Convince me and not confuse me.
Yes. Okay, Chichi, you go first. You know what? You go first. Chichi, tell us
Oh
why
my God.
UFC 300, UFC Africa is bigger than UFC 300.
First of all, like I said off camera, right? I'm kind of
Mhm.
on the fence when it comes to this because UFC Africa is a big deal and it does feel like a bigger deal than UFC 300. But I understand that the factors that are there are that I'm on the African continent and that's why it feels bigger for me, right? But at the same time, I understand that UFC 300 is a big event for the promotion, all in all. So I think maybe I'd lean a little bit more towards UFC 300 being bigger than UFC Africa. But if I'm being biased in my
Hmm.
full African glory, I would say UFC Africa is bigger.
Okay.
Whoa.
Let me tell you guys
Chichi is a real
without
African
me
champion.
let me tell you guys without me being biased. This is me being honest. And here's the thing. I'm going to make a case for UFC Africa bigger than UFC 300, and all you marks out there that are feeling like UFC 300 is bigger, you start to have a second thought. So here's my thing, right? I'm big on storylines. If UFC Africa was just going to happen without any storyline going into it. Obviously, it's not even a question. Let's say maybe Dricus du Plessis was going to defend his title against maybe a Jared Cannonier. That doesn't UFC Africa obviously wouldn't be big. But what I'm saying is, forget UFC Africa. Let's forget it for just a second.
Okay.
Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. That matchup, if you put it in Poland, if you put it in Russia, because of the storyline that is going on right now, I feel like that matchup is bigger than any storyline going into UFC 300. UFC 300 is like, when you are a kid and you are a like wrestling fan, you have action figures at home and you have a fake ring. You'd have John Cena versus Shawn Michaels, and you'd be creating, you just be using your toys and be doing matchups. John Cena versus Undertaker, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Rhea Ripley versus Bam Bam Bigelow. So when you when you just do a jollof of all these characters, that is what UFC 300 is to me. They get a Justin Gaethje and they get a Max Holloway. Okay, let's just put them in there so the fans will be happy. They get a Harris. What's that girl's name? Harris, and then they get a Holly Holm.
Kayla Harrison.
Yes, let's put it there for the fight fans. Dude, there is no storyline going into there. Right now, people are complaining that the match card is not it, and the UFC have been delaying the main event. Why? Because right now it still feels like Dana White is playing with his toys. The toys are the UFC fighters. But on the other side now, when I bring UFC Africa back into this, Israel versus Dricus does not feel like you playing with your toys. It feels like a movie. This is something out of the books of Rocky. This is something out of the books of Rumble in the Jungle. This is the ultimate South African. This guy is so proud of South Africa that he gets Americans confused. He's white and he's talking about Africa. And then all of a sudden, we've got this black Nigerian that lives in New Zealand, but was born in Nigeria. He's big in Africa, and now we have people that is not even their business to talk about Africa, who is African and who is not. You have them arguing about who is actually African. Caucasians in Europe are arguing, oh, he's the real African. This one is saying he's the real African. You see what I'm saying? People have chosen their sides. Right now, whether you like it or not, a lot of people subconsciously have chosen, they've chosen to hate Easy. Easy gets the most hate online. Go to his comment section. He gets the most hate from casuals to the diehards to everybody. And Dricus too gets his own bit of hate because he beat their darling Sean Strickland. So now people are emotionally invested in this storyline. They are emotionally invested to see this happen. And to top it all up, if they bring this to African soil, UFC Africa, Dricus versus Israel Adesanya, it doesn't matter what other fight is on the card. That matchup and the build up to that matchup will do more for the UFC than UFC 300. So now, Chichi, I come back to you that you are being neutral. Tell me, Chichi, do you still feel UFC 300 is bigger than UFC Africa?
No, I don't. You made a very compelling point. You made a very, very compelling point there. In that, with UFC Africa, we don't even have a date for it or anything of the sort. But it feels like there's already a story going into it. It feels like there's already a purpose for the event. Whereas right now, UFC 300 feels kind of like just, just because the number is coming up, just because that numbered event is coming up. So you definitely are right in that. Because yeah, UFC Africa is definitely feeling like a bigger deal right now. So yeah, Demola, good luck.
Awesome,
Good luck defending this.
awesome. I want her over. How about you, Ademola? I know that you are a very stubborn boy. So
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Anyways, I'm a wordsmith and I'm going to do this, right? So you say it is compelling, right? If you're compelling, I will be repelling. And of course, if you're insisting, I will be resisting, right? So imagine a UFC 300, right? That has as the headline Dricus versus Adesanya. So what
God
are you going to do in
forbid.
that case?
God forbid, Batson. It will never
What are
happen.
you going to do? Because that is one of the matchups that people are pushing online, right? Saying anytime the UFC is posting, go to the comment section. They're always saying we are not going to. So some people put in silly comments like we are going to buy UFC 299, but we are going to stream UFC 300 if it doesn't have Easy versus Dricus as the main event. And trust me, it can happen, right? Easy versus Dricus can be the main event, and the rematch might be in UFC Africa. So how about that?
Don't feel
Have
the
you ever
same.
thought? Have you ever
Don't feel
thought
the same.
that? Right. So the thing is, Dana White, has that privilege of playing with his
Okay.
tools, right?
All right. This is
So-
me putting my promoter's hat because I feel like I can run an MMA promotion. This is me putting my promoter's hat, right? For me to sell the most pay-per-views this year, okay, there's something strategic that the UFC has done that people did not notice. Remember, they took Conor McGregor out of 300 because a lot of people were speculating it would be 300, and they took him to the summer. Now,
Yeah.
Conor McGregor is a sure 1 million pay-per-view buys guy. He's a sure guy. He didn't fight the whole of last year, and the UFC did not sell any pay-per-view worth mentioning last year. So now they push him to the summer, so they know they are getting a guarantee money there. Now they are saying, okay, UFC 300, because of its name, it should be big enough for us to make 2 good business this year, right? But now with Dricus and Easy, they have potentials to make 3 good businesses this year. So if they would leave Dricus and Easy out of UFC 300, they have the gate or the pay-per-view buys for Easy versus Dricus is another surplus for them as well. So if they are thinking business-wise, as a promoter that I'm thinking I should be right now with me doing all this booking for Dana, they should split this into 3 things. They have potentials of doing 3 huge fights. A Conor McGregor card, doesn't matter who he fights, which is Chandler. A UFC 300, whichever gimmick they want to do in the main event, Nadem Sabi. And then a UFC Africa Dricus versus Easy. That is the 3 money draws for them this year. If I was in their business meeting, that is what I would say. I would say keep Dricus and Easy off this card. They saw when Dricus arrived South Africa, they saw the heroes welcome. And you, watching there at home, do you think that Dricus will let anybody beat him in South African soil? And Easy,
and that is
watching
why
this.
that is why the rematch.
Listen,
that is why the rematch is going to be in South
Easy.
Africa,
Oh
bro.
my God,
Easy.
no.
Adesanya watching Dricus getting that, he's like, the best thing for me to do to put a stamp on the legacy of me being the greatest martial art of all time, martial artist, is to go to South Africa and collect my title.
This boy.
That's
Like
why you said he wants to drag
Muhammad Ali story.
South Africa.
Yeah, so
He said it himself. He said it himself that he was going to drag Dricus's carcass across South Africa.
Exactly. I made a video about this. In case you haven't seen it, you guys should go watch it. So with this my point, again, business wise, it just makes sense for the UFC to split this income in three ways this year. So let me get back to you, Dems, again. You are the one that is saying put Dricus on UFC 300 and Easy. I've just told you why it doesn't make sense for them to put him there. Do you have any comeback again?
Yeah, I do have a comeback, right? So, like I said previously, right? When you look at the way the UFC 300 card has actually shaped up, right? Dana has like very, very few options in terms of the star power that he can put in that main event. So think about the co-main, which is Gaethje versus who now? Gaethje versus Holloway. Right? That is most likely going to be the co-main event. So who do you think is a bigger star in the UFC, right? The biggest stars in the UFC are Adesanya and Conor McGregor, right? So aside from Adesanya and Conor McGregor, who else do you think would be available to do a main event, right? And me being a business consultant, right? I understand that they can take advantage of that storyline, right? And yeah, they want to do UFC Africa, right? So they can do two pay-per-views, right, with that same matchup. So they do the first matchup in UFC 300 and do the rematch in sometime later in the year, right, or early next year in South Africa. And of course, it is still going to be all
Okay,
flowing. And of course,
how?
remember
No,
that
no,
some
no.
people are bringing up the rumor that they might want to create a 165-pound division for
Hmm.
Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler to fight in that.
Yeah, there was talk about Bilal Mohammed
Yeah,
and Leon
and
fighting for the
Leon.
175 title. But here's my thing. Here's my thing about this. Okay. Um.
They will never. Nobody wants to see Leon as the main event. Nobody wants to see Leon as the main event.
Well,
Trust me.
it might likely happen
What?
when they said they are
Yeah,
introducing
they will
because they
stream.
are
They
getting
will stream it.
they are out of options now. Because I understand that it's going to be disrespectful for Leon Edwards and Bilal to be on a card that Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway are main eventing. But for the interest from the drawing power, Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway are bigger than Leon Edwards versus Bilal Mohammed. Bro,
Exactly.
the UFC right now, they really, really miss Kamaru Usman, bro. Because I swear,
At
Kamaru
his best.
Usman, yeah, Kamaru Usman was a
Yeah,
draw for them. I swear,
yeah.
Kamaru Usman can, if he when he was champion, he could have headlined UFC 300 and people wouldn't blink, wouldn't flinch an eye
Yeah,
because
people would
he
blink.
was doing good. He was doing good business for them, bro. He was doing good business. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. We've got Christopher Graham. He sent his fantasy UFC Africa card, and we are going to quickly go through it. Okay. Uh, all right. Here it is on your screen. So what he did was he put a card together, but he did not add any African fighter that is not in the UFC currently. He only added fighters um that are currently
On the
signed with
UFC
the
roster.
UFC. Yeah. So as we know, the main event: Dricus versus Israel Adesanya. Co-main:
Mhm.
Kamaru Usman versus Wonderboy. Then we've got Manel versus Kai Kara France, and then opening the main card will be Nzechuku versus Ryan Spann. So here is some issues I have with this. It's going to be a South African card, so at least in the main event, in the main card, there should be more than one South African. So
Yes.
I understand that Ryan Spann is ranked in the light heavyweight, so it would make sense for that. But I would have pushed Cameron Simon into the main card. That would be my thing. Kamaru Usman versus Wonderboy. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a matchup for gatekeepers, right? Because that's what Stephen Wonderboy is right now, a gatekeeper, and Kamaru Usman doesn't want to be looked as a gatekeeper, right? But what do you think? Anything you would want to change in here, Chichi?
I think definitely Cameron Simon would need to be on that main card, right? Definitely.
Hmm.
But also at the same time, I'm like, since it would be UFC Africa, not UFC South Africa, perhaps it does
Hmm.
make sense then that, we have more than just South African athletes on the main card. But
Hmm.
definitely Cameron Simon, because I think after Dricus, he's up next from the African continent. You know what I mean? Um,
Hmm.
From the
maybe
South, from the
maybe
South
From
Africa,
South
from the South
Africa.
African
Africa. No,
continent.
I'm talking about Africa. The whole of Africa. The
Not the
whole of
whole of
Africa.
Africa. I'm
No,
sorry. I'm sorry, Chief.
why do you put Manel Cap?
Because
Manel
South
Kape
Africa
is
has
coming up,
Africa in
right?
the name. It doesn't make South Africa Africa. So we
Why
gotta
are you
You
get
see
guys
this.
this?
hating? Why are you
You see
guys hating?
South Africans with their tunnel vision. Eh? They are only seeing South African people. How about Themba Gorimbo?
Listen,
Themba the answer,
listen,
Gorimbo.
listen. Manel Kape is great, right? Cool.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Love him down. But
but
I'm
what?
still gonna say that Cameron Simon's probs up next. Like he
Okay. Well,
Really?
it's
maybe
your
I am
opinion,
being
but go
biased.
ahead.
Maybe just a little bit.
You are being
Yeah, yeah.
biased. So
Well,
I can mention many guys
it is your opinion,
that
but go ahead.
But yeah.
Well,
Um
here's my sorry, finish. Sorry, finish your thought. If you
yeah, so
sorry.
I think I'd move Cameron Simon up into the main card. And I think just because of the story that he has and all of that, then Themba Gorimbo would also be a nice person to have on that main card. So then we'd have three South Africans, right? As well as
Mm-hmm.
one Yeah, Angolan from Manel Kape, since you guys want to include him so much.
You know what? I'm
All
going to
right,
help you, right? I'm going to
we've
help
got
you.
Damon.
Cameron
Wait, let me.
Simon is going to headline the prelims. He's going to be the feature prelim. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That,
yeah,
that's good.
that would work for me. That would work for me.
I think
But
he should
here
be the
we
curtain rise
have.
of the main card. Doesn't that make more sense? He deserves main card now.
But I
Main
would
card.
rather have ranked opponents in the main card. If he's going to fight a ranked opponent, I get it. Right? But if he's not
Maybe.
fighting a ranked opponent, two unranked opponents in the main card of a pay-per-view.
Maybe this could be the fight where Cameron Simon faces someone who's already ranked, right? And he is vying to get into that ranked position. He's trying to get that ranked position. Because I think he's definitely up next. And shout out to Damon right there. Mzansi, yeah, that's what's up. Okay.
Damon also said Simon was unfairly treated in his last fight. His opponent missed weight by 4. Simon as a featured prelim sound good unless Simon faces a veteran. Yeah, so unless Simon, yeah, exactly. Unless,
right.
yeah, unless Simon is fighting a ranked opponent, I get it.
He's doing the right thing.
All right. We've heard from the South African Nigerian Zimbabwean girl. How about you, Demola? Anything you would change in the main card?
On the main card, Nzechuku, I think it looks quite decent, right? It's quite decent, to be very honest. I don't think I'll change anything. Cameron Simon feature prelims, but then I'd like to see like some other African guys and bring in guys that are not yet in the UFC. So I see people like Igor Cabeza, for example, being on this card.
Makhum would definitely be in there.
Okay, but guys, since main cards usually have 5 fights, right? And right here we only have 4 fights. So then can we agree that Cameron Simon would be the curtain riser then?
Well, is this 4 fights? I thought it was 5. Okay, yeah.
I disagree.
Because
so how about
okay. Hear me out. The fifth fight,
right?
The fifth fight is between. Well, Sodiq is ranked, right? So Sodiq should be there.
Yeah. How about people like
Sodiq? Y'all are just trying to put everybody over Cameron Simon, and I don't like it. I will not stand for Cameron Simon slander. Okay.
Nobody is slandering Simon. Nobody is slandering.
Why are you guys digging at the back of your brain to find any and everyone to put above him? Why?
No. Sodiq is a ranked fighter.
No, but
right?
Sodiq is him. Sodiq is him.
He is ranked at number 12 in the. Is he featherweight?
Featherweight. Yeah, featherweight.
Yes, he's ranked 12th in the featherweight, right? So in Africa we only have people flying African flags in the UFC. We only have 5 of them that are ranked. Only 5 of them are ranked. We've got Israel Adesanya ranked as number 1 in the middleweight. Kamaru Usman ranked as number 1 in the middleweight. Manel Kape ranked as number 5 in the flyweight. Sodiq Yusuff ranked number 12 in the featherweight. So only 5 guys are ranked in the rankings. Obviously, Dricus doesn't count because he's a champion. So in my book of UFC Africa, if all of them are going to be there, it has to be in the ranked opponents are the ones that are supposed to be on the main card, right?
Definitely, that's just common sense.
Okay. We've got Damon here. Damon did a bit of a matchmaking. He said Makhum versus Mike Malott.
Oh,
that's a.
I feel like Makhum is definitely. They're trying to push him into the UFC. You can see.
I think he's going to fight in the UFC. He's definitely going to be in the UFC because obviously right now Dricus has champion privilege and Easy used to have champion privilege. Hence why we saw Blood Diamond in the UFC and he took his 4 L's and left. Now Dricus because of what is it called? Because of champion privilege, he is gonna get Makhum and a few people from CIT will probably get that bump, that champion privilege bump. Because here's the thing: when Easy and the people at CKB, City Kickboxing, when they started making waves in the UFC, like Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, I forgot what the name of that guy is, the third guy. So when they started making waves, a lot of people were feeling like, these guys, they are training different and they are bringing something different that they are beating people. And one of the things that they revolutionized in the combat space was the calf kicks and the hip feint. So they feint a lot with their hips and they kind of like leave their opponent throws and opponents will bite into their feints. And those were the things they were weaponizing. Easy and Volkanovski, they did that for a long time before people started figuring them out. But when you look at CIT now, Cameron Simon, Dricus, I really don't know what they do, but it looks like they are doing something. It probably needs a proper martial artist mind. Somebody that can really break it down to tell me, okay, this is what this guy's Monvisa, obviously their coach, has a lot of hand in that. This is what they are doing that is being hard for people to break. So I really don't know what those guys do in CIT. I need someone to explain to me why is it so effective.
You want to know what they're doing, right? That's
yeah.
a discussion for another day. But then one thing I'll tell you is those guys take the sport of MMA literally mixed martial arts, and they ensure to mix everything: the striking, the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu. That's exactly what these guys are doing. And then they use it to convince the judges, they use it to convince everybody that is scoring that when you apply the rules, basically, right, you will get the results. Basically, that is what these guys are doing. They mix it all up.
Yeah, one more thing I would add is that the Dagestanis, them Khabib, whatever they are doing in Dagestan, people have not figured it out yet. But everybody else, everybody else have been figured out.
Are you sure?
All right. Let's move on to the rest of the card by. Oh wow, we've got Abdulrazak Alhassan versus Boneko. It's not fair to Razak. And Boneko is definitely going to be on the main card. I think if UFC Africa happens, it's going to be so inviting for non-Africans to want to be there. I would see someone like maybe Paddy the Baddy or someone like a Dustin Poirier or someone that is actually respected being like, I want to be part of history. I want to be there. Even a Boneko fighting on that card is something that he would want. But obviously, I feel like him fighting Abdulrazak is a step back, wouldn't it? With the type of hype that he has now. We've got Reug and Hamdy Abdelwahab. Reug is a Senegalese heavyweight that is signed to one championship, so I don't think that would happen. Hamdy is an Egyptian heavyweight that is signed to the UFC. So we'll probably see a bit of those North Africans in there as well.
Definitely.
And moving on.
This is still main card. That was still main card. Those two matches.
Yeah, still main card. No. So now we're moving to prelims. Prelims, we've got Sodiq Yusuff versus Lerone Murphy.
Themba
Gorimbo versus Reese McKee. David Onama versus Damon Jackson. Cameron Simon versus Brad Katona.
Cameron Simon would be opening up the prelims.
Well, it looks like from this card by Christopher Graham, Cameron Simon is way down the prelims.
I just know Ademola is just enjoying this. Oh.
Damon is asking if Gift Walker can make it in the UFC. I think he's ready now, man. All right, Chichi, you take it away. Can Gift Walker hang with the UFC talent?
I definitely think so. But then again, I don't know. Like maybe it is me being biased or whatever, but I've worked with a lot of these athletes and I feel like a lot of them just need that shot at the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Was it China that they did the Road to UFC type of show?
I think
I don't know which country it was, but there was a country that they did the whole Road to UFC thing with, and I feel like that would work so well here on the African continent, where they bring all of these fighters and they give them the chance to just shine. And I feel like one of the ones that we need to really, really look out for is definitely Gift Walker. He carries himself already as like a like, just a prime athlete, you know what I'm saying? And also he's just great. He's just great. And when he gets in the hex or any type of cage, UFC can sign him.
You know
Um
what?
he's just amazing.
When you were just talking about road to the UFC, I think I think we might see that very soon because the EFCPI Performance Institute that they have down there in EFC and the
Yeah,
relationship now again with the UFC. I think we can see a road to UFC Africa. We can
it'll
see
be great.
a Dana White Contender Series Africa as well because everything is already packaged. We'd likely see it. We would likely actually see it. Now you just gave me an idea of a video to make. Road to UFC Africa.
Oh, and Gift Walker is definitely one of those people. So shout out to Damon for seeing that. Gift Walker is definitely him.
Yeah, and this is
It's
also
gonna be
an idea for you, of an article to write, you Chichi. You can write about Road to UFC Africa. So when people do a Google search, your article comes up.
It's already there.
All
It'll
right,
just be.
all right, all right, all right.
Guys, I'm not a
Let's
fan of
move
Cameron
on.
Simon being this low on the list, though. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just
I
putting it
support
out
you on
there.
that. I support you on
Okay,
that.
But at the same time, looking at the talent that's on the prelim card right there, it kind of does make sense because Sodiq Yusuff, he's great. Lerone Murphy, like I said, I love him. He's great. Themba Gorimbo, world class
Oh,
athlete. David Onama.
Cinderella man.
See, maybe I would switch those fights. David Onama versus Damon Jackson and the Cameron Simon one. I'd maybe switch those two. Maybe.
mm, okay.
Maybe.
All right,
Makes
let's
sense.
let's continue. Early prelims: Mark Diakise, I think this is a spelling botch, versus Otman Azaita. Mark Congolese, Otman Azaita Moroccan. Okibolaji, Nigerian Zimbabwean, versus Jamie Moleki. Oh, Igu Kabesa
Whoa, my
versus
man.
Igu Kabesa versus Hakim Daudu.
Hakeem
That's a hard
Daoud.
fight.
Whoa.
Makhum versus Anj Lusa. Anj Lusa is from DRC as well. So Christopher Graham did consider putting Makhum there and Igu Kabesa, which are clearly the two like graduates from EFC, for a lack of a better word, the two graduates, the two guys that look like they are the most ready to conquer the world. Igu Kabesa, that is, and Mark Hulme. Please, how do I pronounce Mark Holmes' last name? Is it Home or
Hume.
Home? Okay,
Hume.
okay. I
Yeah.
keep on botching his name. He probably has seen this.
Can I just say
Yeah. So
something real quick?
yeah, yeah.
I would love UFC Africa. Like I said the other time, I'm the president of the Iga Kabesa fan club. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
I'd be very happy to see UFC Africa take place and for him to actually be on that card because we know that he's been struggling with like visa issues and whatever other issues that he's been struggling with to get to the UFC. And so, what
Mm-hmm.
better way for him to make his entrance into the UFC than the UFC coming to his home turf? Then instead, it's like they coming to fetch him. It's like destiny right there. I am here for it.
Yeah,
I'm here for
yeah,
it.
and that's another big impact of UFC Africa happen.
Mm,
If UFC Africa would happen, that gets me to my final point with regards to this fantasy card. I would rather have half of the fights to have only fighters that are on the current UFC roster, and the other half to be fighters in Africa that cannot just easily get a visa and go to South Africa. There are tons of talent down there in EFC with the Tinkerbells and the many gyms in South Africa. There are tons of
yeah,
talent in West Africa as well that probably needs one or two people. The Congolese too that are in DRC, they have a lot of talent that will probably need to get a fight on the UFC card, which will ease their visa process. When
yeah,
when after this one fight, then it would ease up your visa process of progressing in your fight career. So I feel like that's pretty important. And Damon is asking us a good question. He
yeah,
says, guys, what arena or stadium would most likely host the event? This is something that I feel they would have to be conversating about a lot. At this
yeah,
point, I would say with the interest that I've seen from South Africans, with Dricus winning, I feel like they could sell out a small stadium. I don't know if South Africa have small stadiums. They have like Maracanas in there, have huge stadiums. But UFC are not in the business of stadiums. They would rather do it in like a small, in a intimate arena, most
Arena.
likely a 20K arena. But South Africa, Chichi, you will tell me, South Africa does not have a big arena that is functioning right now, do they?
I'm trying to see how many people this one sits, but I'm thinking Sunbet Arena could actually host
Sunbet has 8,500 capacity.
8,500.
Yeah, that's what
Damn.
Sun in the one in Pretoria, yeah, it has 8,500. So if you look at
Damn.
the
Really?
dome, the dome in Johannesburg, it's no longer functioning. It's now
Yeah.
a showroom for We Buy Cars, South Africa.
But
Uh,
but
mhm,
I'll tell you guys this thing, right? One thing that I've seen from South Africa, right, from my time here as a South African who stays in South Africa, is that one thing about
mhm,
us, we are willing to go above and beyond for things. So look at the 2010 World Cup, right? When we had the
mhm,
World Cup and we had the chance to host it, we put in
mhm,
measures to make sure that we can host it. We built
mhm,
a whole stadium. My hometown, Durban, built a whole stadium because of that World
mhm.
Cup. And South Africa is definitely willing to do such again. I promise you. They just need time. We just need time. Tell us in advance that yo, we plan on doing
That's the
something,
issue.
and
So
we'll
this
do
has
it.
been the issue. This has been the issue with UFC Africa, right? Again, I put my promoter's hat, right? I
Is
like
that the
talking
hat?
big picture, big picture stuff. So talking about big picture stuff, right? When you talk about when they hosted the World Cup and they built stadiums, so there's a lot of FIFA funding is in there, and there's also a lot of federal government funding in there. So the UFC are not in a business of charity. That is the issue. Now the UFC, they have been spoiled by the Middle Easterns, right? If they are going to Abu Dhabi, Middle Easterns are paying them to come and bring a show. So if they are coming
True.
to Africa, they are not coming to sell tickets. They are probably doing a charity show for us because they would lose money when it comes to the gate, but they will make money in the pay-per-view because of Easy and Adesanya. I keep on saying this because of the pay-per-view and the viewership, right? So that's why I'm thinking that UFC Africa, the venue does not matter. If it is small, if it is big, the main event of Dricus versus Easy would do enough business for the UFC for them to want to come. Because of Easy versus Dricus, the money that is going to be pulled from that alone from people, from viewers across the world, would make sense for them.
Okay.
Although something might make it take a hit. The most pay-per-view buys come from America. That is when they are on ESPN Plus. But African time does not tally with American time. So it would not be in prime time America, 8 p.m., normal 8 p.m. start time in America. It would be in African time, and that would not be a good time for people to sell pay-per-views. You
But then
understand?
it's
That's
gonna be like
another thing.
around 1
Okay.
p.m. or so. 1 p.m., 2 p.m.
Yeah, so that's
Which
another
they have
reason.
had fight nights that run from that time. So it shouldn't be that bad.
It depends.
Yeah,
They can actually adjust the schedule, right, to fit into American prime time. That's not a problem. But one thing is, what venues does the EFC use? What arenas does the
EFC
UFC?
uses their PI.
They use
EFC
the
uses
PI, right?
their
And
PI.
UFC use the
what's the
PI, and
capacity?
occasionally they use the
What's the
Sunbet
capacity?
Arena.
What's the
They haven't
capacity?
used Sunbet Arena in a while though. Sorry?
Yo,
What's the
PI is very
capacity
small. Though.
of
PI
the
is not
PI?
up to 1,000 people though.
So up to a
Yeah, the
thousand
PI
people.
is
But
very
then
small. I think Sunbet
they can use a
Arena.
stadium. They can use a stadium. Trust me. And
Yo,
I trust South Africa to fill it up.
shout out to Ola, the Fight Week show, and everybody in there. Thank you for the super chat. Big love to you, my bro JB. Salute Demola. Big respect to Chichi. Hope you're feeling better. Big things
Thank you.
loading for South Africa. SA Bafana Bafana.
I'm
Thank
just
you.
trying to push for South Africa because I can see all these other African countries are clamoring to take UFC Africa away from South Africa, and we will not allow it. We will not allow it. Okay, it's ours.
You can use the stadium. You can use the stadium.
Honestly, a stadium can work, but I don't
Yeah,
want
just
a
set it out.
crazy big stadium. Like the stadium in Pretoria is it not like a 90K or 80K or something?
Oh yeah, now we've got some big ass stadiums here. Hey, big, big, big.
That's the
But
issue. It's too
They'll,
big.
they'll,
All
they'll,
right.
they'll set it out. Remember, they used a stadium in New Zealand, and Australia.
Yeah, they used
When,
one
yeah, yeah.
for that. So we have Damon Aki here say, I tell you guys, if UFC South Africa was Duplessis vs Strickland too, and if Sean Strickland starts his drama again, there's a chance Strickland would never be able to return to UFC or more. Okay.
come on, Damon. Come on. See, now
Yeah,
that's gonna
because
drive everyone away
lads
because then
and
they're gonna be
lads,
like, what is it gonna do to him?
shout out to you, Showcase, Fight Week Showcase. Appreciate the love, man. Appreciate it.
Nah, guys, we're all
Appreciate
about
it.
love here in South Africa. We don't hurt nobody. We all about
Never
love.
mind. Never mind. If Colby Covington could have left Brazil in one piece, right? Don't worry. That's Strickland
You,
Yeah.
you
would
know,
leave.
you know about venue, right? The perfect arena is Dakar Arena in Senegal. The
No,
capacity is there. Capacity is there for them, but it would not have the good storyline with Dricus and Easy because it has to happen in South Africa. And again, I told you guys again, the Sunbet Arena, it doesn't matter 8,000 people. If they set it up, it will look nice. Nobody is going to come out and be like, "Oh, you only had 8,000 people." Well, we
nope.
sold it out. So I think it's
And
going
then
to
tickets
look
are gonna be
nice
expensive.
from
Yo,
on the TV on the broadcast presentation in Sunbet Arena, regardless of the 8,000. I don't think it's going to be an issue. If the numbers is an issue, the best arena would likely be in Senegal, and we don't want that. We want this to happen in front of all the Africans and
Trust
the
me.
and the Osas and the Zulus and the can you name the tribes for us?
Oh, come on, come on.
the Afrikaans
What?
people, which is Dricus's people, you know.
Uh-huh.
But Amimu,
The
aren't you the one that I asked the other day and you were like, if it's in Senegal, you'd go?
Yes, I would rather it be in Senegal. I'll go to Senegal.
Do we all see this
If I'm being
agenda?
selfish, you know why?
the only two
Because
places that would make sense is either South Africa or Nigeria. Finish.
mhm.
Just
Well,
just leave it
South
at that.
Africa
And
is
then they'll
head
use
and
the
shoulders
stadium.
above.
Whoa.
Loftus Stadium,
Excuse me.
Pretoria is
Excuse me.
50K, but
Have you seen
there's
the
no
stadium in
roof.
Lagos?
Don't
Have you seen the stadium in Lagos? Have you been
I
to
have to stand
Lagos,
for my
Nigeria?
people. I have to stand for my people, okay? This is my
I have to
country.
defend my people too. I have to
We've got
defend my
Damon
people
here.
too.
He says
Trust
Loftus
me.
Stadium in Pretoria has 50K and there's no roof. It doesn't matter if there's no roof. They'll do like WrestleMania style and just put
Yeah.
a rig and all that. All right, guys,
Anything in
let's leave.
Pretoria would be great, honestly.
All right. Okay, guys, we are going to jump in a realm that we barely do. We are going to jump in the realm of pro wrestling. Okay. Uh, Last night was Royal Rumble, and I'm going to tell you guys this, right? When I was going to send a WhatsApp message to Chichi, I was like, Chichi, can you come on the show? Just so you know, we're going to talk about Royal Rumble as well. She was like, yes, I'm going to be there because Chichi would rather talk about pro wrestling than talk about combat sport. And this isn't something that Demola wants to talk about. All right. Yesterday, the Royal Rumble happened. We're not going to talk for too long, Chichi. We're going to brush this and brush through
Yeah.
this, okay? The Royal Rumble happened. This would be the shortest WWE card I've seen in a long time. They only
Yeah.
had 4 fights, 4 matches there. The Women Royal Rumble, the Fatal 4-Way for the Roman Reigns title. That's LA Knight, Randy Orton, and AJ Styles. And the US title, Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens, and the Men's Royal Rumble match. The winner
Yes.
for the females, Bailey, gonna headline she's not gonna headline WrestleMania, but she's gonna fight for the title in WrestleMania.
She better headline WrestleMania.
Cody is finally going to finish his story, and Logan Paul won. No. Actually, yeah,
Yeah, he
Paul won
did.
by disqualification, and Roman Reigns, surprise, surprise, retained his title. And I'm going to tell you guys something. In the first time ever in all my life watching pro wrestling, everybody knows that the Women Royal Rumble is a botch fest. The women always rule. They always look like they are doing they are counting their moves, like they are doing their when they are doing their move sets. They're always like, you move this way, you move this way. It always feels like they are dancing. But this time, even though there were a few botches there, but it was the most entertaining Royal Rumble match last night. It was the best match in my opinion. I enjoyed it thoroughly. We saw Jade Cargill. I know you're a big fan of Jade Cargill, Chichi. We saw the TNA knockout champion. She was there. We saw return of Naomi. We saw Bailey. We saw a few storylines in there, like the damage control storyline progressing. What did you think about the females, man? They showed up, didn't they?
They did. Oh, first of all, I saw that card and I like because I had to write like previews and stuff for the event. And the whole time I was just thinking, like, it's one of those things where they're probably gonna add more fights. Let me just chill, whatever. But then I think when it came to around like Friday, I was like, okay, they're clearly not gonna add any more matches to this card. So let's just go. And yeah, I had so much fun though. I was glad that they started it off with the Women's Royal Rumble. I was hyped, I was lit, I was here in bed at 3 a.m. screaming. I'm sure my neighbor hates me. I'm sure he does. But it was wild, man. I was living my best life. And I wish you had a picture of Jade Cargill, right? Before people come here and think that I'm just thirsting over
Oh
this
my,
woman for no reason. Let me
oh
tell
my
you guys
God.
something.
Jade
Let me
Cargill
tell you guys something.
is a physical specimen. I'm gonna put her up now. Jade
She
Cargill
is.
is, if you want to find the perfect balance of a muscular woman and a very fine woman in the same bunch, and a superhero and a pro wrestler, it is Jade Cargill. She has muscles, but it's not too much. She looks like a bodybuilder, but it's not too much. It doesn't make her look like a man. She's still fine. I'm going to I'm going to
Ademola,
show
I
you
want
Jade
you
Cargill.
specifically to look at this, right? Because you're not a wrestling fan, but I want you to see this. I want you to see this because I post this woman like damn near every day, every week on my
Wow.
status, and I'm sure people are tired of me, but I will not stop. I will, in fact, get more annoying because of her. Because oh my god, did you see her yesterday?
At this
Oh
Wow,
point,
boy.
I'm tired of you.
woo! I,
I'm
I, I
tired
was
of
I
you
was
already.
heated. I was there. But
Ladies and
anyway,
Oh,
gentlemen, Jade Cargill.
not you pulling up her Insta.
Well, I had to because I had to share my screen. That is Jade Cargill.
Ooh, man.
Dang. Would you look at that? Hey, Omo. She will fuck you up.
Bruh.
Yeah.
The presence, the aura, bruh. She's the full package. She is the full package.
All right,
But
let's get away from Jade Cargill. Oh, that is Jade
woo,
Cargill again. Ish. Okay, let me leave this place. All
why
right.
aren't you following her also? You see, I mean, now I'm side eyeing you. I'm side eyeing you. But anyway, Women's Royal Rumble was great, guys. It was great from start to
Tumboson says she does not need to fuck him up. He will let her.
Haibo.
Oh
When
God.
this is dangerous.
Five wishes. It's good to see Randy Orton back. RKO's everywhere. Salute
woo.
Damon, Akri, and they condemn Diesels out there. All right. So I'm gonna say it was a very good showing for TNA and the female division in TNA. A good showing
Yeah.
for Jade Cargill. She lasted long. She was like one of the last three before Bailey finally won it.
Mm.
Um. All right. Uh, Roman Reigns retained. No big deal.
Your tribal chief, my tribal chief, our tribal chief. Let's go.
Yeah. I just want to see Cody finish his story in Philadelphia and WrestleMania. Um,
We'll
we
see.
got what else? What else did we have? Oh, the men's Royal
Logan
Rumble.
Paul.
Cody winning. Cody winning. The last two standing was Cody and CM Punk, and
Ooh.
they went back and forth. CM Punk kind of acted a bit like a heel at the end. He said, 10 years and Dusty's kid. get bitten by Dusty's kid, and then Cody took him out, and
Yeah.
Cody now is a back-to-back Royal Rumble winner. Incredible, incredible. I love pro wrestling, bro. You have no idea.
But also, can we just talk about that intro for the men's Royal Rumble? Jay Uso comes out, cool, we all hyped, and then Jimmy comes out, and everyone was like, "Damn!"
Well, I think that's a WrestleMania match, brother versus brother, twin versus twin.
Mm,
It's gonna happen in Philadelphia. Just so you know, Philadelphia is also called the city of brotherly love, so it all makes sense. Twin brothers to fight.
exactly.
Mania. One of them big heel, the other is one of them a big baby face in Jimmy Uso in Jay Uso, and the other one
Yeah,
is an annoying heel in Jimmy Uso. So
I love Jimmy. Okay, I'm not gonna tolerate
I
any
know,
Jimmy hate.
I know the people you love. I know you love Jimmy Uso. I know you love Camelo Hayes. The-
Yeah. Also, shout out to Carmelo Hayes, guys. I was excited. Did you see
I know.
NXT ripping?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God, Braun Breaker. What? Braun
What?
Breaker has the best spear in the whole of pro wrestling right now. Okay, have to switch my camera. But what I'm saying is, Braun Breaker has the best spear in the whole of pro wrestling because the way he's running full force at people, it doesn't look like a gimmick, bro. He's like
Mm.
on it.
It's like he's
Shout
trying to
out to Braun.
annihilate you, bruh. Like Ademola, I'm
Yeah.
sure you watched wrestling back in the day, right? And you saw all these spears that these wrestlers had, right? Talking about like Edge and the likes and whatever. But you need to see Braun Breaker, bruh. Braun Breaker does not play when it comes to that spear, bruh. Like he spears someone as if he's trying to end them right then and there. It's
Yeah, bro,
wild.
like a bullet. Like a bullet. You should see this. All right. All
I,
right.
I just wonder how you guys enjoy this thing that is not real.
Bro, you have no idea.
Don't get me started.
Am I the only one who
All right.
agree with this thing?
All right, we've got 7 minutes to go, and we're going to use that 7 minutes to talk about the AFCON. I don't know. I know that Chichi is two of her countries are in the AFCON.
Yeah.
South Africa
Trust
and
me.
Nigeria. All right.
You have some sort of social insurance.
Yesterday, as a Niger boy that I am, you can see I'm wearing a Style Bender t-shirt. I'm Nigerian. As a Niger boy that I am, yesterday we beat the Lions and we turned the indomitable Lions to kebab. We were eating them yesterday, left and right. The Eagle was pouncing 2-0, very comfortable. We beat Cameroon and we're going to be facing Angola in the quarterfinals. All right, and earlier today we saw Guinea beat Equatorial
Guinea
Guinea.
versus Guinea.
Yeah,
Guinea versus
beat
Guinea.
Equatorial Guinea, and something is going on now. I think Egypt is playing
Egypt
now.
versus DR Congo is ongoing right now.
Hey Siri,
Oh.
Sorry. Hey
It's
Alexa,
1-1.
what's
It's
this?
currently 1-1.
What's the scores? Okay,
It's
ignore me,
currently
Alexa.
1-1.
I don't know that one.
Not him calling Alexa Siri. Goddamn. I'm sure Alexa was like,
Like,
Alexa is
whoa,
jealous now.
wait a minute.
Alexa is jealous.
JB, quick
Mhm.
one, right? Egypt is actually playing DR Congo right
Mhm.
now. So I
Mhm.
remember way back in university, anytime we have those matches, and then there was a time DR Congo was going to play Nigeria, and guys were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, Nigeria is going to play Dr. Congo." So
Dr.
Dr.
Congo.
Congo. Anytime I see that
Oga,
country,
this is you. This is you that messed up. Don't even put it on your classmates. It was you, man.
No, not my class. See, I say in my uni, Obafemi Awolowo University, we were trolls. We just used to call the country Dr. Congo.
Okay.
It was with deliberate effort, not like we did not know what we were doing. Like, oh, Dr. Congo. Nigeria will beat Dr. Congo. Come on. So
Okay, so
just put it
what
out
do you
there.
think is going to happen Morocco versus South Africa?
can I also
I
give a
comment
prediction?
my reserve.
Yes, please give a prediction, Chichi.
Actually, no, I don't. I promised myself that I'd stay out of the chat because I feel like, first of all, our South African team, guys, when it comes to football, yo, honestly, South Africa is great at a lot of things, but when it comes to men's football, oh no, our team is not it. So I don't want to like really talk big upon them, and then tomorrow they go. When are they playing? On Tuesday, they go ahead and
Mhm.
embarrass me or something like that. So I'm just gonna stay out of it. Let's go South Africa. Let's go Bafana Bafana. Well done to Nigeria. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't wanna embarrass myself here.
Morocco
Whoa.
obviously is the favorite if you check any betting odds. South Africa. Well, here's the
South
thing
Africa
about
to
South Africa.
win. South Africa to
South
win by
Africa,
TKO.
South South Africa is using, a lot of people don't know this, but they are using the recipe of what Egypt used in the 2000s. Egypt won AFCON 3 times in a row. They did a hat trick, and what they did was they were taking literally Al Ahly, which is a club side in Egypt. They were taking that exact club and going to the AFCON with it, right? Them Abutrika, them Zaidan that time. They were taking literally a club side to the AFCON. And now what South Africa are doing, they are carrying these Sundowns boy, Mamaledu Sundowns. They've
Oh,
got
I know
like
these
Oh,
12 of
sundowns.
them. They've got 12 of them
Whoa.
Jesus, this
as
whole
a
team.
team. So if it's chemistry, they have more chemistry than anybody. It's just when it comes to individual quality. And to be honest, when coming into this AFCON and seeing the South African squad, I was already giving them a bigging them up. But it's Morocco they are coming up against, and Morocco and Senegal before Nigeria's performance, they've been looking like the world beaters. But I guess we've got to wait to see. It's going to happen on Tuesday, and well,
So Morocco's heat is what you're saying.
hmm?
Like
What?
they legit. Morocco's legit.
Oh yes, Morocco. They are the first African country to get into the semi-finals of the World Cup,
Oh,
which was last year, and they have a legit team. They are world beaters. They've beaten Brazil, beaten France, beaten Portugal. No, they haven't beaten France, beaten
wait,
Portugal.
wait. Morocco was the first team to get into the what?
Semi-finals, World Cup
Semi-finals of the
First
World Cup.
semi-finals.
one. And it only happened last
Yes,
year. You guys are telling me it only happened
it,
last year.
it only happened last year. Yep,
Look at
that's how
you.
behind we are in football in Africa.
Damn. Huh?
Yep,
Whoa.
yep.
Don't worry.
So
We're behind South Africa.
the first time that it was close to happening, I think was Cameroon in 2002, and then in
Ghana.
2010 Ghana was this close until Lewis in South Africa. Ghana was this close to beating Uruguay until Suarez put his hand out there, and I am glad that it happened because we would not have heard the end of it with Ghanaians.
Facts. Facts.
But I'm glad it happened to Morocco. But regardless, anybody that comes our way, we are going to beat them. Because this
Oh.
AFCON, it is coming home. It's coming home. All right, people, that's it.
Ademola didn't say anything about this AFCON, bro. Why is he reserving judgment? I want to hear your thoughts, Ademola.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm actually supporting South Africa. So I'm hoping that South Africa is going to beat, Morocco by way of TKO. That is by way of penalty shootout.
Are you supporting South Africa sarcastically
Yes.
or legit?
Not sarcastically. Come on. I have two teams in that AFCON. I have Nigeria and I have South Africa. But then South
Oh, okay.
Africa versus Morocco, right? So
Huh.
last year, towards the end of last year, I went to Morocco to go beg them, that they should please, when they beat South Africa in the AFCON, they should they should not be South Africa. So you see, I've
as a
done the
Nigerian,
work.
I would rather have South Africa win, because if South Africa wins and then they win their next match, we are going to meet them in the semi-finals, we Nigeria. So I would
Wow.
rather face an easier team in South Africa than face
You see,
Morocco.
this guy, this
So
guy, this guy,
so
this guy is spoiling. He's
please,
spoiling the whole thing.
South Africa beat Morocco for me so I can beat you.
Damn.
Whoa.
What? Chinyere
Yeah,
Okafor,
bro.
you have a Nigerian first and last name. So you should support Nigeria when they are playing South Africa.
Come on, she's
See, I don't want that
South
match. Me, I
African
don't
by
want that match.
nationality. Nigeria versus South Africa. I would really like to see it.
I don't. I'm okay with. I don't need that match.
Why don't you need it?
Because also, I have a lot of South Africans on my contact list. I can't celebrate when Nigeria wins. That's a problem. I can't celebrate. Because then people are like, oh, you're showing your true allegiance now. And I'm like, damn.
All right, guys, this has been fun. This is
Whoa.
a reminder, please. If you want to listen to us in audio form, we are on Apple Pod, Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, everywhere. And please consider supporting us on Patreon as well. We're going to open our YouTube membership very soon, so you could do that on YouTube if that's what you feel like doing, if that's what scratches your itch. Ladies and gentlemen, it is me. The next appearance I'm going to be making is on King Dem's podcast this Friday. An episode we made, me and Dems, is going to be available on his podcast. Please feel free to sign up to King Dem's podcast, subscribe to it. And later next month, I will be a guest on Chichi's podcast as well. So, Combat Corner. Chichi's Combat Corner. Please
Triple C.
go. Yeah, Triple C. Go subscribe. All right, guys. It's been
Henry
legit.
Seguido.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Come on, Africans!